Hello. So it's been about a year since I've made a YouTube video, and it feels good to be back. So today's video is about healed versus unhealed, and what happens when you go on the healing journey and you're in the healing journey or you've healed a lot. It can feel like you become isolated because you don't relate to people that you used to. If you're someone that is on the healing journey, this video is for you. You don't want to miss this. So within this video, I'm going to give you 4 points that are really important within this that you might relate to or might help you. If you don't know me and this is your first time here, my name is Tess and I'm with Uncharted Depths, and I help my clients break through limiting beliefs, heal childhood trauma, and step into their joy and their power so they can live the lives that they truly deserve and want. So we're just going to dive right in. So I'm going to do point 1. What do you think the big difference is for someone who is healed or healing and someone who is unhealed and unaware of their wounds and how they show up to a relationship? Well, I'm going to tell you. So one of the biggest benefits of healing is becoming aware of the wounds that are within you, specific wounds that were cultivated in childhood, and how they affect you today, what your triggers are, and how you project those onto others. So for those of you that don't know what projection means, I'm going to explain to you. If we have a wound, let's say of abandonment, and we are in a relationship, and our partner is 2 hours late and doesn't call, this could bring up this wound of abandonment. And usually there's a story around it, and the story will be something like, my partner is rejecting me, my partner's forgot about me, my partner doesn't think about me, I don't matter, I'm not important. So somebody who hasn't healed will believe in this when there could be 101 other reasons why their partner is late. A healthy person would inquire, hey babe, why were you a couple hours late? Just wondering what's going on. And so the unhealed person will come up, maybe they're crying, maybe they're erratic, maybe they're hysterical, maybe they are just giving the cold shoulder or the silent treatment, not actually dealing with what the wound is. They're immediately projecting their wound onto their partner before finding out what the actual story is around this. They've already made up their mind that their partner has abandoned them. And so when somebody is healing that or has healed that, they're aware of that. So they've learned to see, okay, I have this trigger coming up within me. When my partner gets home, we're going to have a calm conversation. I'm going to inquire to see what his reasonings are or her reasonings are or their reasonings are. So when you're in a relationship, you are going to get triggered. Your partner is going to trigger you. It's inevitable. And so when somebody who's doing the work is aware of this, they can come to their partner and speak these things and have a conversation with them. When 2 people are healing together, it's a really beautiful thing. Because they can come together and say, my abandonment wound's coming up right now, and I'm in my child. So when we have wounds come up, we usually revert back to children because that's when the wound was cultivated. So that's why we can react like a child, have a tantrum, or stomp to our room, or run away, or give the silent treatment. Whatever we learned in childhood as our coping mechanism, how we deal with conflict or hurt, we will use in adulthood. And a lot of times this can come from a place that is not constructive. So that's why you see 2 adults that are, arguing and they look like children, right? And so when people start to take initiative to heal and they come together and there's conflict, they're able to deal with it in a much healthier way. And they're actually able to heal together through that because they're authentically connecting to each other and hearing each other and understanding each other, and they feel held in their wounds. When you feel held in your wounds and seen and heard by your partner, and there's not this like fighting conflict up against each other, not understanding, it's so healing for both people. They've been repressed and in the shadow, and now that you're sharing this with your partner and working on it together, there's so much light being shined on these wounds, and so they have the capacity to heal at an accelerated rate. Okay, so now that we've differentiated what it is like to be in a relationship with somebody who's healing or healed and somebody who's unhealed, we can move on to part 2. So part 2 is that when you are on the healing journey, you understand this on such a deep level, and you understand your wounds on such a deep level, and you've come to a certain point. It's like anything. Let's say you study a certain subject in university and you start to master that, right? You get better and better and better and better at it. Well, it's like that with healing. Healing's a little messy, but you're mastering in ways certain layers and levels within you. You're breaking cycles. You might fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. And you are raising and rising within this. What happens is your standards also rise. And so you can't go back to where you were before, and you cannot go back and date somebody who is not on that same level and has those understandings. People take years out of their lives to just focus on healing. They are so involved in healing that they're not willing to, after that, go back and spend time or get in a relationship that may be toxic. They're just unwilling to put up with anything that's toxic or any kind of issues that somebody else might have that gets projected onto them. They're just not willing to go there anymore. And so then this takes us into part 3, which is a common theme that happens for people that are on the healing journey. And it's isolation. And so isolation is a really, really, really tricky thing to go through, and it's really hard, and it can really play on a person. It tests you. What happens and why this happens, I believe on the journey, is for us to go deeper within and to face some of the things like loneliness and being alone that most people will avoid and just try to distract themselves with activities or people or relationships, substances, addictions, any of that, right? And so what happens is when you're healing and you're not willing to spend time with people that aren't on a similar wavelength because you just have nothing in common, or you've set up boundaries in your life and you've had to let go of friendships or relationships or family members, well, can get lonely. Sometimes people just move in different directions, and when you're healing and others aren't, you will naturally go this way and they will go this way. It's inevitable. And so when this happens, and I see it a lot with my clients, and I also went through it, I've gone through it a few times actually, it can feel quite isolating and lonely and quiet, and it takes a lot of strength. It's almost like dark night stuff. Right? And so it's really important to learn how to support yourself in this and recognize that it will not stay like this forever. There can be long periods. Like last year I went through that, and that was about, it was close to a year on and off of that kind of energy. And then I went through that years and years ago, like 10 years ago when I first started healing and walking away from unhealthy relationships. But this was a whole other level of learning that I think I needed to go through so I could support my clients on a deeper level, people who are going through isolation, because I learned what that really does on such a deep level, more than I ever have in my life. And isolation slowly wears at you and chips at you if you don't have things put in place to keep you sane. Connection is the number one human need. And community is really, 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 really important. And when we are isolated from that, it can make us feel disconnected from life and from ourselves and kind of go into a place of futility. So this can be a really tricky place to be in. So it's important to learn how to hold ourselves in this if we are somebody who's going through this. And so even working with a practitioner during this time can help, just having that somebody who understands what you're going through, and being able to talk about that, the isolation piece or whatever you are going through alone, can really, really help. And then also taking the necessary steps to make sure you're getting out every day. Like if you're someone like me who works from home, which a lot of people do now, and then you don't have a big social circle anymore, or even anybody, let's just go to the extreme. Well, it's really important that you go out for walks and get out and do things. Don't just isolate and hole up in your house, right? Because it can be easy to want to do that when you're going through this kind of dark night space. And if anybody needs support around this, my links are in the description below, and you can book a discovery session with me, which is 30 minutes, and then see if we're a right fit to work together. So there's so many benefits to healing and so many rewards, but there's a lot of hard stuff and tests and trials too, and it takes the heart of the lion. It's like the warrior heart. Okay, I'm gonna say goodbye, and I'll see you next time. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share with your friends. My name is Tess. Thanks for watching.